Okay. We like that, but we also like this working. So we're gonna do it like this. And this is just gonna be our thing now. This is how we run a YouTube channel now. Isn't it 12 days of Christmas? Well, this thing is not thrilled. I think we're just gonna stick to YouTube. It's fine. No, it's 12 days of fuck you. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Well, we're gonna try it like this, and if this goes really bad, I blame you, Oxy. Okay. Where were we? So. Uh. 20% of frames are dropping, and I think that's okay for now, technically. Oh, you know why? I know why. There we go. I'm stupid. That's better. I only feel that way because I've been working 6 days a week for the last 3 weeks. That's crazy. I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure how you're supposed to survive. Okay. Previously, okay, I'm gonna ignore all the dropped frames. I don't care. It's fine. Previously, we worked on many things since I've started this, and yeah. That's cool. But now we've got goals, and those goals are to prepare for the convention. That's not what I wanted to open. Stop. The goals are to prepare for the convention that we're going to. So we're gonna create a text file here. We're gonna call it goals, because I'm cool and I want to be special. By CLT, I want to have OpenGL on ATI working. We've gotten to the point now where on AMD graphics cards we can load the driver, we can run DirectX stuff, but we need to fix OpenGL. Okay. That is to do with user 32. It is borked. Once that is done, this will allow us to do testing with DirectX 11, which is going to be very important for what we want to do. So that's one. Another goal is WPA2 support, which is from importing a WPA supplicant. And I need to make some modifications to that, so I don't need to import a 15,000 line driver that I don't want to import in the first place. It's doable, it's just we need time, and that is not what we have right now. Well, we do have that right now. I don't know why I just said that. My brain's fried. I'm tired. I need a nap. It's been rough. Okay. Fine. Are we good now? Okay, we're good now. Okay, so we need WPA2 support, which from some WPA supplicant. We need thread pool kernel 32 syncs to be finished. These are for NT6, and then the combination of these will allow us to be able to play some kind of DirectX 11 game. So this is required. What we do have is the SMP scheduler being done, but alternatively, I've started doing something probably I shouldn't have. And I promised myself that the month of December, this is required, the month of December. Hi Marcino, what's up? How's it going? I promised myself that the month of December would be for trying to get this thing fixed. Regarding, wow, my brain's just toast. Yeah. I promised myself that the month of December would be for dealing with the crap done with resource conflicts. So this was cool. This is what I wanted to do. But then there was some bonus stuff, which really comes down to UEFI Showcase on the Steam Deck and initial WM support to show that all the work we've done on reverse engineering that stack has been worth it, and some kind of obtainable thing has came from that. And this is all the stuff I wanted to do before CLT. So the problem is that everything here depends on this. And so I've been spending the month of December trying to put together a version of the, let's call it a stack. Yeah, a version of the stack that's needed in order to set up the resource conflict management. So what's the deal with this? So in order to do this, what I've had to do is rewrite acpi.sys, which helps Poe work by importing uacpi This creates a ACPI arbitration. This unlocks all hardware to be detected, which then causes PCI to break. And this is because our PCI doesn't enumerate our queues properly. Doesn't give a crap about what the hell is doing. And 3 doesn't have a proper HAL hook. There's a hook in there that's supposed to exist and it just doesn't. So one of the things I need to figure out now is that, okay, I have the start of a rewrite to this ACPI.sys, and I need to figure out, do I really want to spend the rest of the time I have dealing with our broken P&P manager, or do I want to just move on to other things in this list so we have this to showcase at least? The problem is that this unblocks this. Oh, it also unblocks x86 SMP because this is what's stuck on it now. It works except for this stuff. So there's just been no point. All of these things are now can get unblocked from dealing with this. So beyond PCI.sys, there's another component of HAL. HAL has 2 different arbiters, one for pick, which is just enforced sharing, and then APIC, or IO APIC, which is IRQ allocation. The logic in our HAL doesn't follow the structure needed to accomplish this. The good news is that UACPI itself is getting close to its initial version. And when you start looking at what does this allow you to do, we can pull this. Basically, I don't have to do this like Windows does. Is really what it's coming down to. I'm not going to do it like Windows does at this point, but I'm trying to, what the heck? I'm trying to comprehend what would be the best option at this point for trying to get this to boot again. When ACPI starts up right now, what we get looks a little bit like this if we want to use the Windows HAL. I have to find it, I'm sorry. Yeah, so with Windows PCI, what happens is that while we can now handle these conflicts, you know what I should do, actually? Do you want to be the smart idea at this point? Is just to remove the arbiter entirely for now. Because I think that what needs to happen there is that we need to get proper dumps from everything that's happening from ACPI. Okay, so let's suppose, and let's pull this in here for now. We'll need this. Unspeakable Horrors time. Hey, Jeff Fox. Let's suppose that we did it like this and cheated. So we go in here. Let me just pull our source tree in real quick so that we can play with. And see if what we can do. So yeah, so what ends up happening practically with pick right now as a result of IRQ arbitration is this, where we can rewrite. Okay, so all of the hardware that is following the resource management rules basically here doesn't end up actually getting its interrupt half the time. Like anything handled by ACPI is completely toast. So in this image, what I was seeing was that the IRQ that we're getting from here. Oh, sorry, that was a changed function. What I was seeing was that when we hit this 0xa, the device themselves didn't get any updates. And what I think is happening is that what's coming from the ACPI tables itself. That's not what I wanted. Maybe it is. Oh. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, what was coming from ACPI itself was the valid interrupt for Windows 2003. Actually, you know what? I think that's part of the problem here. Okay, so if we can find out what the interface vaguely should look like for Vista, and I know what it is, that's not actually a question, and we can define functions to abstract out the registering code for ACPI and just, okay, have everything enabled, and then, oh man, we need some janky way to not initialize everything. Actually, you know what? I don't think it'll matter at this point. I think if I break pick on hardware, no one will care. I don't think they will. And I don't think they will because the majority of people running the pick-how aren't really using it on hardware. Sorry, I mean the majority of people using it on pick-how are just using what's default. If we made the default APIC, it wouldn't matter anymore. So maybe that's the option. Maybe when we force ReactOS to let itself blow up on hardware, basically with the legacy pick, and then only focus on APIC for now, and just let pick rot. Devices that are hard-coded, like the Xbox or the PC-98 port, aren't going to get affected by this. It's only HAL ACPI. I'm trying to do too many things at once. That's why this is an unbearable project. So slowing it down a little bit, we can, let's only rewrite, like, let's only get APIC to load. So we'll have all of the registered code that is required for Windows. I'll test against 10, that's fine. We'll have all the registered code, and then when that's all put together, we force, I can make a hack that'll force it to be shared. It'll break shit, but that's fine. I can cut out the MSI stuff for now, because that won't matter in a virtual machine. If we allow UACPI to do everything it's supposed to, like initialize everything, and only acknowledge devices in our device tree creation code that are under that proper node, that they're only on the root PCI node or whatever, I don't think it'll care that much. That would probably solve a lot of the time constraints right now. Because if I do this, and then I have everything found from ACPI properly, we can go in and we can make the additions to PCI later, I think. We just have to hope that would work. So let me quantify this. This, I think now, is maybe 2 weeks. 2 weeks of work. Okay? WPA supplicant is a week. The research is done. I know what I'm doing there. I just have to go in and finish the import. Thread pool, most of it's done. I have to revert one thing and the PR is done. So this is 2 days. Kernel 32 and / kernel base needed extensive testing. This is a month. Okay. So we have until March to get most of this done. February, January, I return to work here, so okay, it's going, if I do this during work, it's going to be twice as long for everything, so let's just it's probably not going to be a month. I'm going to say a month and a half. Okay. Okay. I also don't think this is right either. I don't think it's going to be 4 weeks. Let me do some math again. No. This is 2 weeks because it's going to require me to actually go through and make sure it gets approved. This doesn't need to be merged. This does. So that's the hard part. That one's hard only because of that. That's why it's going to take so much time. Okay. So if I do this and I get ACPI working, I do not think I will just magically unlock UEFI. The problem is that PCI itself gets its IRQs from the wrong spot. So when we start talking about PCI and we are looking at what is it doing, I'm in trouble. I'm in big trouble. What was I saying? Okay, so if we spend here, if you notice here, this is where the code is grabbing the IRQs from. This is just, oh my god, it's worse than I thought. Actually, that's a lot worse than I thought. So, okay. Is this happening every single time? Is this just what's doing it? I think this is just what's doing it. If it is, I'm going to scream. Anyway, I think this is just what's actually grabbing the IRQ. Which is just embarrassing. Okay. Okay, assuming that's the case. So they allocate resources for it. Okay, that's not that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad. That makes sense, actually. Anyway, as you can see, the moral of the story here is that it's not really doing anything clever, right? So we have to work backwards, I think. If we implement ACPI properly. So we disable the PCI driver. We load from RAM disk on UEFI, and we also load the UEFI.sys driver so we can have that good measure, and we'll create the two device roots. So we'll have UEFI root, and then we'll have ACPI HAL root. And if we create those two roots, we get everything in there detected and its resources available. And then we try to load some of the auxiliary drivers. I2C we won't be able to load right now, but I think I can do a touchscreen that's over, not I2C, but there's a better name for what I was thinking of. But I think that will be enough to start answering some of these questions. And then we create a private interface that isn't what's going to actually properly be what's supposed to happen. But maybe that's okay. Here's the arbitration for the IRQs. You know what? I think I know what's happening with this. Oh my god. Stop being a wimp. I think that's okay, actually. Okay, I know what this is trying to do. This PCI driver is trying to replicate the really old, it's like 15 years old methodology, I think. There you go, 2010. You know what? I think I can actually fix this now that I know what I'm doing more. Okay, so the arbiters for trying to resolve conflicts that aren't handled by... You know what? It doesn't act... Okay, actually... Because... Okay, let me nerd. Okay, so we have two devices, let's say, that are sharing IRQ 0xa. Okay? When you are doing that and you register multiple handlers to it or whatever, it's going through a list of them. So whatever, handler 1. Handler 2. The reason the arbiter exists in the first place is because what it's trying to do is decide if what action is being made is legal. And Microsoft themselves really overcomplicated this, because technically everything after ISA, like every modern PCI device, can handle having handle having an interrupt that isn't like for that device like this. It's built for it to do through that chain. It's shared. Programmatically speaking, the way ReactOS does this right now is that its assumption is always that it's just going to ignore it. The code inside ReactOS that's for resolving this, if it can't be resolved, it ignores it. So this error code, if the arbiter was working properly, the fact that it's getting conflicted here with multiple devices would be shared because this is a PCI IRQ. I just know that because of VirtualBox. This is from VirtualBox, and it's always the same thing. So it should be shared. And the arbiter code, yes, it does detect that it's shared, but it never reports that back up to the kernel properly, and that's why it wasn't originally working, and that's okay. But we don't have to fix that right now. Really, I was using the IRQ to resolve I was using the IRQ to trigger a fallback when I probably shouldn't be doing that in the first place. Yes, if I wanted to do this like Windows 2003, what Windows 2003 is actually doing here is running these. It's basically taking this and being like, hey, you know what? If it can't be shared properly, then fuck you, right? But if it falls back to other methodology of deciding what another interrupt can be for that system, which for IOA pick is not actually a very strict constraint. So what can happen is that instead of relying on the arbiter to decide what the fallback IRQ should be and to carry that out, inside our dummy PCI, we can invoke ACPI directly, or we can invoke it through HOW. So we'll create a private interface. We'll create a private interface between ACPI and PCI. So ACPI HOW will have a private interface between PCI and ACPI, just like Windows does, but ours is going to be invoking the handler dispatched by UACPI for this case. Because UACPI just detects to see what's basically on the table, and then you can invoke and find out what it's for. We can take advantage of that and pass through what the required resources are for it. So there's two ways we can do this. We can make it so UACPI is the one that's creating the resource lists, or we can do it to where on event for trying to find the resource list, we're falling back to UACPI. Both of these are probably going to work. So if we were to do this properly, then Yeah, you know what? I think that'll work perfectly. Because UACPI's entire job is just to give this generic information. The reason we're having so many problems with ACPI and it giving that to us is because we are relying on it to decide what to do. So the entire code that's looking for the legacy IRQs inside the wrong spot shouldn't be used. We need to decide the GSI and then grab, and it's reported back to the kernel. So even if we're using the GSI in the HAL, it's not going to get reported up, but it's not going to matter because we're not crashing on these conflicts. We're just ignoring them. So how do we write this in a way that if it's going to ignore it, it's not going to be a big problem if it ever gets fixed? And it will get fixed. I'm going to fix it, but we need to write some kind of enforcement. We have to guarantee that ACPI is loaded first. And it is. And then ACPI is what the HAL's doing to create the resource list. Because the PCI driver is only for creating its children. It doesn't matter for everything. Then we know why things sometimes have a conflict. But we can track to see why it's not getting its resources. Okay. I have a plan. I think I do. Yeah. Okay. We will do it in the most evil way I can. Oh yeah, there's also a test patch you need to look at really quick. Yeah. Address space. Yeah, anyway. That's actually pretty good. Okay. Now, the real question is do I even need to use UACPI? Do I really need to rewrite this? But I think I do. I think I have to. I've put the work into it. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna have to, and we're gonna have to just plow through and hope nothing explodes. So, we have 2 months. And beyond 2 months, we also have the rest of the year, which isn't very long now. Pretty much all of these days, I'm free to work on this. Is it actually the 20th? What the frick? It does not feel like the 20th. Oh. It's because I was on the wrong month. There you go. Okay, so all of these days I have can be spent dealing with this. So a week, 2 weeks. I can spend, but I'm not going to be able to spend the entire day on it. I'm not doing that to my brain ever again. But I can get close. Okay, January is going to be the month. Here we go, the plan. December. Hello, UACPI. Fixing the start of Arbiter, getting it booting again. December. January, first 3 weeks. So January, we're gonna do ATI plus WPA2. February, oh yeah, we'll squeeze some ATI plus WPA2 PR. And then February, we're going to be thread pool again. Well, I might do that at some point, but it's going to be kernel base. Oh, you know what? Let's flip these. I'll show you why. So January, kernel base. ATI, WPA2. And also some NT6 stuff. Kernel base, ATI, WPA2, which will then lead us into March. WEDM, if I have time. So, this is the schedule. This is what we're going to do. This is the plan. In order to do this plan, we need some kind of minimal management. So, 1, clean up UACPI import. 2, fix registration, or fix ACPI PM registration. On Win10, so just get working on Win10. 3, our queue detection, sorry, our resource handling. Okay, 4, work with author to open a draft. 5, some PCI fixes. 6, SMP testing and UEFI testing. I might get more specific on these, but that's just the vague outline for now. Kernel base will be in here. It's not actually that complicated. I'm probably going to finish it before the month ends. Maybe. We'll see. From there, we got ATI and WPA2. Run ReactOS on my AMD laptop. Write test cases on the laptop. Compile tests, or sorry, run test on laptop. Debug user 32. From there, we got WPA, which is just number 1. re-import WPA source, supplicant sources, to rip out old WinPcap code, replace with what's up? What part of it? Snack key. Sonic. There's a lot of things interesting. Rip out old WinPcap code. All of it. Yep, this is the plan. Yep. That's all the stuff I've been working on for a while, but kind of quantify it a little bit. I don't think I'm going to get through all of it, though. I really don't. I really think that working on ACPI right now is a mistake. I do, but I'm doing it because the power management subsystem needs it, and if that gets done, then we'll be better off. About pin cap code, make PR merged fully from March. What's the end? Test DX11 games. Get some syncs done to run. Well, I think it's going to grab a lot of time for sure. I've been doing it for a while though, so it's already a mistake I made, quote unquote. Get some things done to run Cult of the Lamb. Test some X11 games. This is the NT6 stuff. XGDM Video Excel with OpenGL 4.x. 4, check thread pool, check thread local storage work. Let's see if Steam will run now. WDM for there. Verify that ACPI fixes allow us to do MSI interrupts. 2, submit PR for initial display management subsystem. 3, verify that out of the box Vista DirectX stack DXGI works in 6 builds. From there, we can test on VirtualBox, VM, and master, and older ATI memory cards. I do not think this is going to all work. I really don't. The fact that I'm sitting here trying to quantify this is probably also a bad idea. But I have been doing a lot of these things for a long time, and now it's all time for it to wrap up. So, this is the next couple months. This is the plan. If all of this is done, so this if this is finished, all this is finished, we will have a couple things at CLT. You will have Steam Deck running with XGI drivers from Windows 10 or 11, allowing for input. We will have AMD Windows 8 gaming laptop running running XDDM video drivers Crisis. Cult of the Lamb. Some other Vista. We will have that. And then on top of that, we will also have Wi-Fi running on some USB device. Or no, I don't think that matters. This is just for me. Games. And then maybe framework laptop with video drivers. Probably won't. Only display. Excel. These are all the things that can be true if everything above is done. A framework laptop 13 with the display working but not video acceleration. AMD Windows 8 gaming laptop running XGDM drivers, some actual games that are intensive and decently modern, and yes, that is possible, that already is kind of happening. And the Steam Deck running with Windows drivers to allow for input, and it actually just functioning somewhat. So, these are our test cases. Wi-Fi will be sprinkled in here, but that's really easy. That's going to happen. That's the biggest thing that's for sure that's going to happen. But if everything here goes remotely well, which it probably won't, to be honest, but if everything goes well, this is what will happen. Okay. These are some pretty bold claims. It has been a couple years since I've started working on ReactOS, and a lot of this stuff has been things that have been haunting me since the start. A lot of it is stuff that I've been working on and have finished to some degree, like WDM and UEFI and parts of SMP are all things that have been practically finished but unusable because of all of the weird dependency hell. The result of this, I think, will allow us to showcase the fact that our OS isn't that bad. We'll see. But that's the plan. And that's what we're going to do. Okay, so what about streams? Since I have the week of ReactOS. I don't know exactly about times, but I'm thinking that weekdays, every weekday except for the 25th and 24th, will be spent doing, maybe it's a weekend day or two. Yeah. So I'll be able to stream on the 22nd, the 23rd, the 26th, the 27th, the 28th, the 29th, 30th, and 31st. 31st, yeah, 31st. It's probably going to be this. I'm going to be honest. This is probably going to take the most time. That is why this is first. It is not an easy task. This is a bug fix. This is basically working already. This is just us finishing stuff I've already started. This is an actual implementation that's required. But this is just hell. So, that's the plan. Yep. I don't know. I'm ready for it. I just wanted to sit down and try and figure out what I'm actually going to do. And I think spending a little bit of time on it is good, and I will spend more time on it. Wi-Fi needs a small fixes. I'm not writing a GUI gem code, so it's just not going to happen. No one's going to write a GUI for it. It's going to be through command prompt, and it's going to be triggering it. I've already gotten Wi-Fi working. It's just, there's no GUI that's going to happen. It's just some small import fixes, and it's good. And removing one chunk, a little part of it that's only for really reading and writing packets. Oh, I guess it'll also allow older Wireshark to work, but that's its own thing. Yeah, but it's not going to be compatible with this. What he's writing is something that's accurate to the Windows architecture. This is going to be a hack. We're using WPA supplicant. It's not going to be great, but it's going to work. The only thing his GUI will be able to do is show that it's connected to what Wi-Fi network and what strength and stuff. But he's not going to be able to connect to a network with this thing. Yeah, it is what it is, though. It's not... I'm not going to try and complicate this more. This list is already a really bad idea. So, yeah. This part's been done, but not in master. So, okay, there's a lot of this that's been done. I'm not even gonna lie, but I'm writing it like this for a reason. So we'll see. Place your bets now if we have a functional operating system somewhat on these devices after this. My intention has always been to fix modern hardware, and that is what I'm doing. I am only focusing on the last couple XDDM drivers. I am only focusing on modern architectures. This is it. This is me fixing modern hardware. Trying to. So, let's see if it works. x86 SMP isn't really modern, but it would be nice to have, and x64 already works way better. So, okay. Gentlemen, I think we got this. I also don't at all. My faith is like 0, and yeah. But we're gonna try. I will expand on this document. Maybe. Yeah. I think that's it. I think that's it. I do not, for the first little bit, I'm going to just kind of silently work on the UACPI stuff, trying to get it to compile properly. I might shoot some questions to the author. But, yeah, here we go. Into the modern world, boys. Get ready to jump to 2024. This is not 2024. 2025. Yeah, so it's as bad as your PTSD is telling you. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to lie to you. It's so bad even in ReactOS. Like, my import of it is so awful. It works, but barely. And it's like jank. You have to follow the Arch wiki in order to connect to Wi-Fi. Is that not the most disgusting thing? Like, love to see it. I'm glad it's working. I will say that. I am glad it's working. Connecting to a modern Wi-Fi network, pretty cool using ReactOS. It is the most beautiful thing. Dude, no. It is not. It is jank. It is jank. Yeah. You have to use the Arch wiki in order to figure out how to connect, because it works like it does on Linux almost exactly with the command line and everything and the config files. It's bad. It is horrible. But you know what? I was able to download and stream YouTube and do all kinds of things from an internet connection that wasn't open. And you know what? That's cool. At least it's somewhat documented. Yeah, and I will make some documentation to make it easier. But oh my god, is it just a terrible idea? It is genuinely one of the most awful things I've just ever done. Anyway. Yeah. The end of an era, the start of a new one. I would say something funny like, oh man, 2025 is the year of ReactOS being slightly usable, but it probably won't be. And I'm not going to pretend any of this is going to be merged. What would a proper Wi-Fi implementation be like then? I don't know, and I don't care. Because you know what? Importing WPA supplicant took me 3 days. So, yeah. There you go. Three painful days, and it wasn't fun, but it did work. And you know what? It's mergeable. Kind of. Maybe the proper Wi-Fi implementation is the experience we got along the way. No. No, it's not. But you know what? I don't care. Yeah, this is... This is gonna be bad. This is god-awful. If it do, it do. Yep, it do. But hey, you know what? But on the weird off chance that it goes like well, which no, but in the weird off chance it goes well, we can see framework with, maybe we can see it with 3D acceleration. We can see OpenGL. That's possible. Probably not, but I like to imagine it is. But probably not. But hey, who knows? If it do, it do. Anyway. I'll try to get ahead if I can. The more time we can spend on trying to do everything the right way and trying to figure out a way to deal with and trying to get all this stuff done ahead of time, if we can do all this like super fast and we can try and make sure there's PRs out before we do weird things and showcase it. But more importantly, I think it puts the foundation in for trying to go into a hack fest and start asking good questions. And what do I mean by good questions is essentially, I don't really think this ACPI thing will fix the core problem. I know it won't. It will start to fix the foundation. But the reality is that to fix everything up the stack, it needs more people. But a proper implementation of ACPI.sys is going to be a long way into the right direction. Beyond that, I don't know. We'll see. I hope this works. I just look at this terrible, terrible misspelled list and Would it be better to make it work first and improve it so it's PR able? No, not at this point. I need more people to look at it. Having it on my branch isn't going to help. I'll open it as a draft and then make it work, but yeah, we'll see. The reality is that what this actually is doing up the stack is not great, so it is what it is. And all things considered, though, I think we got this. Psh, totally. Maybe. Well, gentlemen, boys, girls, adults, fellow ReactOSers, I believe that the first questions have been asked. And yeah. I am going to head to bed, get some rest, think on this a little bit, think about more about how I'm going to do this, and maybe yeah. Thank you all for watching this note-taking stream. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, have a good night, everybody. Goodbye.